Have you ever walked into a group and felt really unwanted? Or people really didn't appreciate your presence? Have you ever stopped yourself from achieving something in life because of an ill feel or a fear which you didn't know what it was? If so, stay tuned. Today we are discussing about the fear of rejection. I'm Hari here and you are watching Coach to Clarity. Fear of rejection is nothing but a fear of losing something in your life. That fear could be of losing your respect, losing your reputation, what you have gained, losing your status, and losing the acceptance among people whom you really want in life. So let's understand how this fear of rejection had creeped in to your life. For that, let's look at this cycle. So in the first stage, event happens. Why I am calling it the event is because we are not looking at that particular event through our perception. It is just an event. And second stage is realization that you are getting rejected, because we are looking at that event through our own perception. When we perceive that we got rejected, the third stage is unacceptance. We reach a stage where we will not be ready to accept that we got rejected, and we start creating self blame and self hurt, and we put ourselves in trouble. So when we know that we are in trouble, what we think is we need to take an escape from the situation, or we need to get rid of the situation. And the very first time when that rejection might have hit us, we would have chosen a path of escape, and that had become a referral point in our brain. Regardless of your age and gender, you will go through rejections in life. It might have already happened, or it could be happening now, or it can happen in future as well. So what we can do is we can be prepared to face this fear of rejection. So in order to be prepared, what we need to understand is humans have a tendency to pick up every negative things that happens in their life, and they'll keep on thinking over it, and they feel that they are not good for nothing. So it is very important to analyze that cycle and break the cycle where it is really required. So what happens is an event occurs, and the brain immediately goes back to the past, and it recollects events that had happened in past, and it thinks how we had reacted or what actions were taken in the past, and it immediately gives an action plan ready right now to handle a situation which is happening right away in front of you. If the event that had happened in the past was negative, most probably the brain might have given you an escape mechanism to just get rid of that situation, because you didn't want to feel that pain again in life, and you immediately choose to escape from that particular situation. So we need to break this cycle at some point of time. So let's look at this cycle. So at the first stage, the event happens, and when the event occurs, brain immediately goes to the past and collects every information required. It collects information about our feelings, our beliefs, our thoughts, everything, and it gets ready with an action plan. And it immediately delivers that action plan, and the next step is we take action. So this is the point where you need to break the cycle. At this point, when your brain delivers you an action plan, immediately ask yourself to stop taking action and think what are the other possibilities. And when you think of the other possibilities, you actually are giving yourself a time frame to think productively and act instead of reacting. When you act positively, you tend to repeat that particular action next time, because your beliefs get strengthened. When you did something different this time, your belief changes. You're actually creating another referral point in your brain, wherein you can go back and access to this referral point. So next time when you face the fear of rejection, immediately you have to think the first three letters of English vowels, which is A, E and I. A stands for acceptance, E stands for evaluation, and I stands for it is not I always. So at the first stage, when you accept that particular situation, you are actually giving yourself a space to think. Beat any problem in your life, the very first thing has to be an acceptance. If you do not accept yourself, if you do not accept that particular problem, you're actually creating friction and conflicts deep inside, which will stop your brain from thinking forward. When you give this space for your brain to think, you can actually tell yourself that this is not the end of your world, and this is just a beginning. This is just a beginning of a new world and beginning of new ways of responding to fear of rejection. Second is E, which states evaluate that particular situation. It is not always right to think that the problem is always in you. The problem could be at the source as well. So you need to evaluate yourself and the source. In order to evaluate yourself and the source, you have to come out of yourself and look as a third person and understand what's happening. If you look at people who really criticize and put yourself in trouble, there could be two sets. One could be people who really want to express themselves as subject matter experts, or they might not know anything about that very particular situation and they just want to cover up themselves and they are not bothered about your feeling. They'll do everything required to protect them, but they're not bothered about you. Another thing could be they want to make themselves feel superior from rest of the crowd. So in order to make themselves feel superior, they'll push others down and project themselves as somebody who's a really great person. Rest others could be self-boasters. So these are the combinations that you need to think of a negative situation when it comes to fear of rejection. And the other thing what you have to think is there might be people who really wants to bring in a change in you, but they lack diplomacy and they do not know how to be soft and express certain things. So it is your responsibility to evaluate whether the problem is its source or the problem is in you. If the problem is its source and it's something which is negative, just do not think of that people. Just leave them and you just protect yourself. And if the problem is within you, you have to find out ways to work that out and improve yourself. And the third step is I, which states it is not always I. If you walk into a bunch of 20 people, there would be one or two, regardless of whatever good things you do, they might not appreciate you then and they might not like you. And that is the case with you yourself. When you walk into a group, there would be one or two people you might not like at all. There would be one or two whom you might not relate to whatever said and done. You do not like them and you might not want to spend time with them. So there's no harm in understanding that there are people who really do not appreciate your presence, or there are people who really do not like whatever you do. So what you have to do is you have to concentrate on that 18 people who are very supportive instead of concentrating on that two people who really do not like you. It's always fine to have that two people in life. If you can have those two people in life whom you really cannot relate to and appreciate in life, why can't they have you as that person? It's perfectly fine. Just forget about those two and concentrate on that 18 people who really like you and appreciate you. What I want you to do is, if you had experienced any rejection in the past, just take that situation and if you are feeling really low about it, take it now and apply this A, E and I and see how it creates wonders for you. It will immediately help you in creating a paradigm shift. It will move your focus from you to others. Just think of those people who are really successful. Walt Disney once was said that your mouse is not going to work and just get lost. But what he had created is Disney World and we all love the Mickey Mouse. Think of Steve Jobs. He was rejected by his own company. Think of it. He had managed to come up and rise to such a level where we find Apple is equal to Steve Jobs. Think of Jack Ma. He was rejected 30 times before he realized that he didn't get a job. If he was not rejected 30 times, he would not have created Alibaba, which is one of the biggest B2B online platform. So guys, I wish you all the best and I want you to really work this particular steps and feel good for yourself. I'll see you soon with another video. Till then, take care.